So, it's React time. I'm gonna grab something to drink real quick, and I'll give you guys the video we're gonna be looking at today, which is
Let's take you back.
why the Smash Ultimate competitive stage list is a disaster. I already hate the video. I've watched like 1 minute of it, so be prepared. Be prepared of me hating on this video for like 30 minutes straight at least. Let me know, like, talk to me about this video. Let's watch it together, and if you guys, you know, let me know. Let me know what's up. So I'll maximize it.
Let's take you back. Early 2000s, Melee tournaments have started popping up across the world. Some tournaments even getting up to hundreds of entrants. In the early days, things were a lot more unregulated, but as the meta began to evolve, people started wondering if there should be restrictions put on the game. In most fighting games, especially at the time, banning something would be an almost impossible
This is gonna be horrible. Yeah, the Melee comparison. Oh no, but I mean, I think it's good to understand where the rules come from, because that way you can kind of analyze why it exists. And if you know why it exists, you can also make a more concrete argument about what is better, what's a good alternative, why is it no longer relevant, etc., etc. He's gonna take you back to the past. He's gonna take us back to the past, guys. The guy in the vid seems like he hasn't really been following the game. I haven't watched much of the video, so he wants to stay in the past. He doesn't understand why Yoshi's Island Brawl's banned. God, we'll get it. We'll get to it, duel, guys.
Most fighting games, especially at the time, banning something would be an almost impossible task. The most you would hope to achieve is banning a character or technique in your friend group. Like when Talal won't stop spamming heat-seeking missiles as Zector in Mortal Kombat 3. However, due to Melee's immense customization and the rise of the internet around this time, banning, say, a stage for a competitive scene was somewhat possible. So a competitive stage list began to form. Stages of on-stage walls got banned due to infinite. Stages where the stage itself could inflict damage got the axe. Stages with walk-offs were banned due to camping on the side of the screen waiting for easy kills. Over time, this children's party game was developing a reputation of being a high-skill esport. The reason I'm talking about this is because I want to showcase that stage lists do matter in a competitive setting. Fast forward to 2020, Melee has developed a stage list consisting of 6 stages. The best Melee player in the world is a solo Jigglypuff main. Melee is still popular, but there's also this new game, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, a game that brought back everything from all the previous Smash games, all the fighters and all the stages, plus new ones. So ideally, all the stages that were legal in all the previous games.
This isn't gonna end well. I'm frightened already. I'm wondering when the controversial takes are gonna pop off. Honestly,
Should be legal in this game too, right? So from 6 to
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
arguably 9. Now that we have small battlefield, and I think Unova has a case of being legal too. So honestly, I mean, let's continue watching.
8. Only 8? Okay, what happened? New to Ultimate was an optional feature titled Hazards Off, which was a response to the competitive scene wanting a toggle for certain stages, and also the casual scene over certain stage hazards being a bit too much. Mainly, this guy. On the surface, this is a great addition, and it is, giving the competitive scene great new stages to play around with, such as Kalos, and allowing Pokemon Stadium 2 to become the most neutral stage in the game instead of a somewhat controversial counterpick. But beneath the surface, these additions to the competitive scene came at a hefty cost. Fountain of Dreams, a stage that not
What's the hefty cost? Wait, did he just say that? Did he just say the hazards off toggle came at a hefty cost?
controversial counterpick. But beneath the surface, these additions to the competitive scene came at a hefty cost.
What?
Fountain of Dreams, a stage that not only competitive players, but also casuals would call their favorite stage in Melee. Starting up, it looks like a Battlefield clone, but as the match progresses, the side platforms change elevations. The platforms change in a random-ish nature, forcing players to adapt and change playstyles as the match goes on.
They don't
It's a mechanic
adapt and change. Okay, so it's that it's not a toggle, it's hidden rules. Yeah, so okay, I get the argument. So the argument is if we had a way to keep the hazards on, we could have both Battlefield and Yoshi's and Fountain of Dreams. So you cannot have like Dualgas says, you cannot have a stage list in which there are stages with hazards off, a stage with hazards on. But I actually don't think that is much of a loss. Like, I don't think you lose a lot. I think the biggest loss, honestly, is Fountain of Dreams. I don't think any other stage even comes to mind in terms of what we lose because hazards are off. And Fountain of Dreams, it doesn't force you to change your playstyle. There are hardly, like, honestly, there are hardly any characters that specifically enjoy the fact that the platforms move up and down. It's more of a thing that's there, and some, like, you need to adjust to it in real time, but it doesn't change your playstyle. It doesn't improve a lot of characters' specific game plan, as opposed to others. And yeah, Hazardless Smashville is 1,000 times better than Hazards on Smashville. That side platform, people want that side platform back. You know what happened on the side platform? Pac-Man camping, Cloud camping, Bayonetta camping, Ness forward throw kills at 0. Sheik forward air strings into bouncing fish kill at 0 from down throw. That side platform was not a competitive thing. That was not a good thing. And of course, you can play around it technically, but if we're talking about Sheik, for example, her combos last so long that she can decide for herself when she wants to transition onto the platform or not. And if we're talking about the case of platform camping, you cannot play around that at all. Like, if you play a good Cloud that's platform camping on the Smashville platform, there's almost no counterplay. It was very impressive. And I think Fountain of Dreams, like, yes, I agree. I would have liked to have Hazards on Fountain of Dreams, but I don't think it's an addition that adds a lot to the stage list, because I don't think there's any character that's like, oh, I want to have moving platforms outside of, like, Little Mac. I think that's, like, the only character that comes to mind, or like Ganondorf perhaps, that wants moving stages because it helps him pressure the platforms. In principle, the plat moving changes how certain interactions play out purely based on when they happen. Right. Yeah. So I mean, that's true too. But the thing is, people don't play around that, because, I mean, you technically could as the aggressor. So you could be like, oh, I know the platform is on the right side, so I'm not gonna hit them off stage. I'm gonna juggle them instead because the platform will help them out. You could make that decision. But for the defensive player, for example, that's not a decision at all. It's just, they get hit to the ledge. Oh, the platform is there. I'll use the platform to get off, and you're home free. So yes, there is some technical decision making around these type of platforms. But you gotta wonder, is it fun though? Like, is it fun that just because you got the hit now and not like 2 seconds later, you gotta go for less reward than you would have gotten if the platform was not moving? And honestly, like, I don't have an answer to that, because some people think it's fun, some people don't think it's fun. I personally don't think it's fun, because no one will wait 2 seconds, because that changes the platform position. You get the neutral win when the situation is right. And if you were to do it, like, try to get a neutral win based on the timing, you're forcing it, which is never a thing that happens at, like, a top level of play. Playing Slash for fun. Ramses, please. Yeah, what am I thinking, right? So I think Fountain of Dreams is kind of the same, whereas it does change the way you play the game, but it's more so reacting to what's going on rather than, like, an active pursuit of a specific, like, abusing a specific hazard. The same reason Randall is a bad mechanic in Melee. Yeah, I don't think Randall is great either. What's up, Tokyo? Thanks for the follow. I do appreciate the support. Come with me on this journey as we watch this video.
That's the perfect mix of interesting enough to change up the gameplay while not being super in your face. In Ultimate, Fountain of Dreams returns, but in Hazard's off form, the platforms don't move, essentially turning it into just another version of Battlefield. Well, that shouldn't be a problem then, we just need to turn on Hazards off for this stage, right? Well, Ultimate doesn't allow you to turn on Hazards on and off from the stage select screen. You can only do it from the rules set menu.
Right.
This can cause unnecessary trouble. Let's say you go to Fountain of Dreams of Hazards on, the next game you forget to switch Hazards back off and go to a stage such as, say...
So I actually saw a post about this that was very interesting, that actually solves this issue to some degree. And it is making one rule set per stage. So it just takes a lot of effort, and I don't think it's feasible for, like, a bigger tournament. But But what they do is they have one rule set that's like Smashville, and then in the rule set you can only have Smashville active. You skip the stage selection, which you can do like in the settings. You can just be like random only, and then you only put on Smashville as a random stage, and then you have one rule set per stage, and that way you kind of negate the fact that Hazard's toggle is hidden away in the rule set. The thing is, it's not worth it. Because, like I said before, what hazards on stage are you gaining? The only one really is Found Under Dreams. And adding that requirement to our switches is just, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So, yeah, I don't think it's a good solution. I think it's a solution if anyone wants to experiment with this. But yeah, I'm not a supporter of hazards on Smashville. I'm not a supporter of hazards on Town City. And I'm, the only hazards on stage that I think is really somewhat, of a positive addition is Found Under Dreams. And I might be forgetting something. Don't sue me. But yeah.
Kalos. It takes a bit of time to realize that the stage has hazards set on, and when you realize, what do? Do you continue the match? Do you both quit to the main menu and restart the match? Most Smash tournaments already go off schedule due to things like bracket backup and unaccounted for timeouts, and having a stage of hazards on would add to that problem big time. So most tournaments generally stick to all hazards off all the time. Plus I launched the stage at a frame rate issue, which definitely gave it a bad reputation. Now some people might be asking, well, if it's just like Battlefield and Battlefield is legal, then why isn't Found Under Dreams legal? Well, in tournaments you usually play in a best of 3 and have a thing called stage striking. When you win one game, the loser gets to choose the stage that you play on next, but the winner gets to strike 2 stages that your opponent can't pick. Let's say your character is bad on Battlefield. Let's go with Banjo. Obviously you'd want to strike Battlefield and say another stage, let's say Smashville. But oh wait, if your opponent can't go to Battlefield, what's stopping them from just going to Found Under Dreams?
Well, this is like the stupidest logic, because he just said, oh well, it's Banjo, you obviously don't want to go to Battlefield. Oh, but you have another band, let's use it on Smashville. Oops, he can take me to fucking find... Dude, that just strike the triplats and go to Smashville. It's not that deep. It's really not that deep. So in the Netherlands, we have a rule set with multiple triplats. We have Battlefield, Yoshi's, and Lilith, which to me counts as a triplat. We also have, I think, two plats, which is Pokemon Stadium and Small Battlefield. So like, if you don't like triplats, you get 3 bands, and you get to get rid of all of the triplats. You get to get rid of all of the flat stages too. Kalos, Final Destination, and Town City. Get rid of all 3 of them. So, I mean, the fact that we don't have identical stages because of the way striking works, that's true. But this example is like very, very bad. Let's just keep it at that.
This puts characters in a predicament. Do you ban both Battlefield and Found Under Dreams to cover your bases, using both strikes for essentially one stage, or do you not strike either, leaving a giant weak spot open? This is why most rule sets ban clone stages. This is also why Midgar and Dreamland 64 are banned in Ultimate.
Yep.
Yoshi's Story is another example of when hazards being removed is a bad thing. The cloud that the community dubbed the Randall got removed despite not being that big of an obstacle for players.
What's up, Zam?
The worst it would do would be a low platform.
Oh my god, I'm still processing this. It's bad that they removed hazards from this stage. Have you guys seen how many Samus players lose because the Shy Guys fly on and block the charge shot? And I think a Falco laser can be blocked by the Shy Guys. And I think it would happen even more in Ultimate because there's more projectiles in Ultimate too. And then Randall it's not a good mechanic, guys. It's not. It might work in Melee because in Melee they might land on Randall and then you still get the hit, not the Samus face. Alright, so maybe the wrong example, right? But imagine you throw out your ink bomb and then the Shy Guy just absorbs the hit and your ink bomb is useless. So in Melee, Randall is not that big of a deal because a lot of situations when they land on Randall, you can punish them regardless, and then afterwards they die anyway. Well, in this game, if someone would land on Randall, you're they'll recover. They're back. You cannot slide off of the edge of the platform. And yo, Robbie, thanks for the raid, dude. I appreciate it so very much. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, in Melee, when you get hit in your shield, you can slide off the edge of a platform. In this game, you just stay on the platform. So if you recover to Randall, you're safe. You're safe.
Move despite not being that big of an obstacle for players.
That big of an obstacle.
The worst it would do would be a low platform for players and even save players
well,
from
Robbie.
time to time, while still being a rare enough occurrence to not completely change how the game is played. Smashville's platform would move back and forth across the stage, leading to matches becoming tense. Also balloons. Now it starts moving but then stops in the center and never leaves that spot. The platform not moving also led to Yoshi's Island, not to be confused with Yoshi's Story, getting banned due to being too similar. But the
You said something about this dual gas. That's not why we banned this stage. We did not ban this stage because it's too similar to Smashville. Because then Yoshi's, like, the triplat would not be legal either, because then it would be too similar to Battlefield. We banned this stage because slants are a mother, like, let me not finish that sentence. But slants are a bad thing for this game. And the reason why we have lighted legal is because some people are just not the smartest. Let's keep it at that. I don't think lighted is a legal worthy stage, but this one, like the slants on this one, are extra bad. And Yoshi's has 2 little slants, which makes it very easy for you to play around it. There's almost no unpredictable situations that arise from those slants. I think for 1, the slants here are steeper, and for 2, the entire stage is slants. When you spike here, it sends you, if you get upbeat by Ike, it just sends you this way. So he upbeats you upwards, spikes you down, and it just sends you off like in this type of kind of direction, and then you die. Light makes it hard to see. I don't really like that argument because a lot of people use that argument to against Unova, and I don't think Unova is bad at all. Actually, I think the reason people keep Unova banned, especially now that Small Battlefield is a thing, is because it's too much like the other 2 plats that we have. I actually think it's not. I actually think it's quite different in terms of how it plays compared to Pokemon Stadium 2 and Small Battlefield, but most people disagree with me. I find Lighted harder to see than Unova. Interesting. I actually never had issues with Lighted's visibility, but I can understand that some people don't like Joker or Game & Watch on it. Yeah, the 2 frames are awkward, and jab locks are, I think they can only happen uphill. So if you jab someone this way, it works, but if you jab them that way, it does not work. So slants just introduce a lot of shitty things, and the thing about Lilat is that it's like it has like a very like 1/3 of the stage is like centerpiece, which is straight. So that helps a lot. This is entirely slants.
Island, not to be confused with Yoshi's Story, getting banned due to being too similar.
This is
but
not
the
true.
difference of these 2 stages is that these are still legal. So what's left is less variety, and what's left is less unique. The hazards off section seems to
See, and this is another thing. Like his base point is that that variety is good, but who is to say that that is true? Is variety good? Is variety what we should be striving for? That is what I want to know. Because his argument rests entirely on the point like more variety is better. And I actually agree with that. Like personally, I think more variety is better. But he needs to prove the point first. If he wants to make like a compelling argument, like tell me why variety is good. And I think having more stages is good because it allows more expression of skill. And the more you allow skill to be expressed, the more consistent the better player will win. So if you have more knowledge about a matchup and you're better at banning stages and picking the correct stage, you will gain an advantage. So in a way, knowing more about stages will let you express your knowledge, which is a skill, and will lead to you winning more consistently. Why variety? Tell us, why variety? And I think what happens when you explain why variety is also the point where you realize duplicate stages are bad, and it's not just because of the striking system, but also like we said, it's an expression of skill. And when 2 stages are exactly the same, there's no extra skill expression because both stages accomplish the same thing. And I think that's one of the reasons why, like, Omega stages in Smash 4 were interesting, because all of the Omegas had, like, minute differences that could influence a match. For example, as Corrin, I like to go, like, Final Destination versus Mewtwo and Cloud, because a lot of their moves go into the Z-axis. So, these Omega, like, Flatland, it makes the characters 2D, and it eliminates these issues. And then there are stages with walls, which actually wall jump, even though it's Final Destination, stuff like that. And I think that's another, like, it's a cool expression of skill. Unova's banned because of the large contrast messing with colorblind players. So I played on it with Space, who is red-green colorblind, and he doesn't suffer from those issues at all. Never had an issue with light visibility. Are you superhuman? I mean, I am wearing glasses to look extra well. So yeah, I think so far this video is a little bit lackluster, so to say, but let's continue watching.
Have rules, anything that moves is gone. But then why do platforms still move on Town and City? And these platforms could be considered far more interfering than anything on Fountain of Dreams, Yoshi's Story, or Smashville. I'm not complaining about Town and City though, I love this stage, but it's really weird where the game draws the line.
That's
what
true.
makes these moving platforms okay, and what makes these a felony offense? All of this could be fixed by using the shoulder buttons to be able to change between hazards on and off from the stage select screen, instead of being thrown into the bottom of the advanced settings menu. But sometimes the game goes in the opposite direction and doesn't remove things that should be removed in a hazards off stage. Castle Siege is a giant wall that blocks the view of the bottom right half of the stage, making edge guarding and recovering harder than usual. Great Plateau has a giant hat-shaped thing overhead that acts as a ceiling, but on hazards on you can break it, and there's a platform that forms there. Why isn't this on the hazards off version? I'd call this thing more of a hazard than the platform. Arena Ferox has a perfect layout for competitive play, but this
Arena Ferox is big, and I actually think the Minecraft stage is like the biggest kick in the nuts we've ever seen. Because in the Minecraft stage, you can select which of the variations you want with specific button inputs. And if we had that for Arena Ferox, that would have been perfect. Because then we can decide which of the layouts we want. This one would be a good one, for example. Yeah. So I think the Minecraft stage actually has some viable layouts as well. It's just really big. The stage is really big. But yeah. So I think, like, they're doing things that could be positive, like, for example, button combinations to pick specific layouts. I just want them to apply to all the stages. If they were to apply that to Arena Ferox, which I think would be pretty easy to do, I would be so happy, because that is another legal stage. Like, definitely. I wish they could let you choose the stage hazards to remove and what to keep. Yeah, that would be awesome, but I think that's a little bit hard to do in terms of menuing. But yeah.
This is actually one of 3 layouts that the game picks at random on hazards off, and with no selection option to choose which layout to play, the stage is essentially locked out. Yggdrasil's Altar would be a fantastic legal stage if it wasn't for the opening 10 seconds, where there's both walk-offs and a ridiculously low ceiling. They changed a lot about the stage past this point, but it's so weird that this isn't removed in the hazards off version. I'm not entirely sure what's happening behind the scenes of this opening on a technical level, but I don't imagine it could be too hard to start the stage after its left takeoff.
I actually think this stage could be legal, but it's actually huge. I think it's a little bit too big, even without the the starting sequence. And I actually don't think the starting sequence is that bad. Like, a low ceiling, who cares? Are you gonna kill someone vertically in like 10 seconds? I think that's actually extremely unrealistic. I think the walk-off is a little bit of an issue. Personally, don't think it's too bad. I would not mind Yggdrasil's Altar. What is the difference between FD and Yggdrasil? So even with hazards on Yggdrasil, the platforms will drop in and then form the layouts, and then they fly off. And they do the thing where the platforms, I think they become fall-through when they leave. So I think Yggdrasil could be a viable stage, honestly, personally. And I think the Minecraft stages could be viable as well. I think Unova could be viable as well. But at that point, you're at 12 stages. And that's going to make the striking process very, very complicated, honestly. I'm an inclusionist, so I like to include as many stages as possible. But most people are not. I played on it quite a bit and enjoyed it when Hero first came out. Yeah, I've played on it quite a bit too. I like it myself.
Or at least remove the walk-offs and fix the ceiling in the opening moments. It's saddening how such a great, unique stage is held back by such a tiny but nonetheless there detail. Okay, so we may have lost a few things here and there, but there's still plenty of stages that can provide fun, unique gameplay to the competitive scene. Right? Right? As we all know, the worst part about Smash is the Smash community. This is Unova Pokemon League, a stage that on the surface looks like Pokemon Stadium, but with different platform heights, blast zones, and walls. It makes for a great counterpick.
I like the stage.
Or at least it was. There's a slight slant right here where if you go under the stage and use a character with a teleport up B, such as Palutena in this case, you die. This is the reason the character got banned in most areas. A very small, very slight slant that only affects 4 characters out of the entire roster.
I think it's an argument that's put forward a lot, but I think the reason it got banned actually is because it's too much like Pokemon Stadium. Which I think is a viable argument, honestly, and while I personally disagree a lot, having played on it a lot myself, I don't think it is very much alike Pokemon Stadium 2. I get the arguments, and I think now that we have small battlefield, it would add a lot of like 2 platform layouts to the mix, which in my opinion is not a bad thing, but some people do dislike it.
This was called a glitch when it really isn't. If you up B along a slant, you will go up the slant. It just so happens that this slant sends you too far away from the ledge. However, it never...
No, Senator, I don't want Yggdrasil on the stage list. I think I would be fine with it being legal. I think it's a little bit too big, possibly, just like the Minecraft stage. It's a little bit too big to be legal. But I think I wouldn't be angry if they were on the stage list.
That you can just not go under the stage and solve this entire issue. If you get trapped down there, 9 out of 10 times you got outplayed. Even if you don't want to deal with the ledge, you can stage strike it. It's kind of the point of a counter pick, a stage where some characters have unique advantages and disadvantages. If your character has a problem on a certain stage, it's part of...
What did you think about the rule set in the Netherlands with Skyloft legal? I love Skyloft. So, I think Skyloft is a great stage. I think the one downfall is that like it has like a really cool layout, but the blast zone here is closer and the blast zone on the right side is further out. So, on this side you die like 10% earlier, and on this side you die like at like normal percents. So that's the reason why I think the stage would not work, is because of the percentage difference. But a lot of the a lot of arguments that I see is it basically comes down to, I think the Sharkable stage is a bad thing, which I disagree with. I think it changes the game up a lot, sure, but it's never oppressive due to how ledge mechanics work in Ultimate. It's great for some characters. You know, if you have the mix-ups to do great stuff under the stage, then it's amazing. But not a lot of characters do. So yeah, I think Skyloft, I would love to have Skyloft legal if they fix that small blast zone issue. But a lot of people disagree with me, and then again, I played back in Brawl, and we had like 20 stages legal, including a lot, like 3 of them with a Sharkable stage. So I know how to deal with it very well. But yeah, Rob is solid, yeah, for sure.
Warning your character to strike that stage. But I guess some people just don't want to adapt during a situation when you're already playing a top-tier character. This stage being banned was a stupid, rash decision, and it's a travesty that this probably won't be back to big tournaments anytime soon. This is just one example of a stage being banned over dumb reasons. Another example is WarioWare Inc., a stage that has really small blast zones. Ultimate is in need of smaller stages, and despite the stage having around the same blast zones as Yoshi's Story and Melee, it got the cut. One of the biggest complaints in the Ultimate scene is that there's too much camping. Some characters like Sonic run away for the entire match. Why not have a stage that makes camping nearly impossible? Mushroom Kingdom U and Memento.
No! WarioWare is horrible. Why is WarioWare bad? Because it introduces inconsistency. You die at 30 to like anything your opponent does. Do you see the clip of Pow at the Yes, I did. It's Charizard Becker at 30 and they die. This stage is banned because we want to have a consistent outcome when we play our matches. And this stage is definitely not great for, you know, figuring out who the better player is comparatively. And I agree, Gaku. I don't think camping is an issue in Ultimate at all. And I think with small battlefield, we actually have enough small stages. Personally. Nah, bro, Sonic will spin dash forward air you at 30. You're still getting camped. Yeah, this is not a good stage. I like to live dangerously and die in one hit to
Why not have a stage that makes camping nearly
impossible? And then the next one,
Mushroom.
I tested this one out. So at the start of Smash Ultimate, there was a European backroom in which I was the Dutch representative, and the UK wanted to test out Mushroom Kingdom U. So I put this stage on. I made Zero Suit back then, and at that point, I realized this stage is not okay. I played against Space, playing Inkling. Inkling is not a slow character. He could not hit me. There's these two platforms. Zero Suit does like down B. Zero Suit has her full hop. You cannot hit her. She's untouchable. This stage is like it's inviting platform camping. This is the biggest stage. Like if you want to ban Yggdrasil or what's it called? The Minecraft stages because they're too big, this stage will never be legal. And I think this stage should never be legal because it's way bigger than any of those. Yeah, we played with the stage on back in the day at the Meltdowns. Yeah, I remember. I don't think it works.
Kingdom U and Mementos. These stages have the
So Mementos, I don't think Mementos is too big per se. I think the issue with Mementos is this slant right here. So because the stage is it's not symmetrical, it creates a situation where in a lot of situations, if you're up here, you're shit out of luck. Because the opponent walling from down here has a lot of extra time to anti-air you. Because you have to go down the slope just a little bit extra, which gives them a little bit of extra time to react to how you're approaching them. And what that means is that when you spawn in and someone spawns here, and the other player spawns here, whoever picked the stage, wanted to pick the stage, might spawn in at the worst side. They're unhappy and they lose momentum in the first stock because you spawn in the wrong side, even though it's your counter pick. So asymmetrical stages, by definition, can almost never be legal because of the way you spawn in. Yeah, it's also hard to pressure this platform from down here. So you have to go up here, then go here, and then you can pressure this platform. And by that time, they've ran off, and now you're on the platform, and now you're getting juggled. So that's bad. And then you could retreat back here, but then you're on this side of the stage, and you're shit out of luck because now the opponent's on this side of the stage, and you're in a bad situation. So, like, this stage, again, it promotes circle camping too, and it's way stronger when you're in an advantageous position. Because you're going to be in the advantageous position forever, because if you're ahead in percents and you're on this side, you don't have to approach. So the strong position doesn't matter, because if you're on this side and your opponent has to approach you, you can do the platform circle, and then you're in a better position now. Whereas normally in like evenest stages, you have to approach your opponents, but you're never at a deficit for approaching, because approaching slants upwards is bad. And especially because of the way the platforms are laid out, right? You can easily like wall people out here, and then the opponent can go over you, and it's hard to counter that. I love Momentus and Castle Stages, but they are made to be fair. Yeah, asymmetrical stages are definitely not the
opposite problem of WarioWare, where they're too big. Although they would make great double stages, I couldn't find a single...
Double stages is the dumbest thing anyone has ever said. Holy moly, sorry guys, but that is my trigger word. Double stages don't exist. Okay? Why? Because whenever you play doubles, there's a very good chance that you're going to be playing singles at some point in the event. Because your partner dies, and then their partner dies, and what's left? It's a 1v1, and you don't want to be 1v1ing on Mementos, you don't want to be 1v1ing on Mushroom Kingdom U, you don't want to be 1v1ing on the Wii Fit Trainer stage. It's bullshit. Double stages don't exist. And even in doubles, this stage sucks to play on. Believe me. I remember returning in France back in Smash 4. Someone circle can side with small me brawler on Congo Jungle 64. Congo Jungle 64 was a monstrosity, honestly. So yeah, this is not a good stage.
Doubles tournament that has either of these stages on the stage list, or really a stage list in general. Wait, there isn't a set doubles stage list yet? Well, get on then and put these two on. On there, these are the perfect double stages. Woohoo Island and Skyloft, these stages allow for a technique called sharking where you go through the main platform. This was banned in Brawl because Meta Knight would just destroy everything like he often did. Meta Knight would just go under the stage and do 20 up airs before having to come back on stage. That is not an exaggeration. Sharking is a lot less viable in Ultimate and a lot more punishable.
Yeah.
I feel like one of these stages should be legal.
I think this stage is horrible though. Like the slants are actually trash, but it's okay. Yo, see the dealer. Thanks for the follow, dude. I thought you were following already, but I do appreciate the support. Welcome to the channel. Hope you enjoy today's
Not both,
content.
but one would provide a unique enough change. Okay, now some of you are probably going crazy, thinking I'm spouting complete nonsense, and you may be partially right. But I feel like what all I said isn't too far-fetched, considering Lilat is still a legal stage.
Hey, now he's appealing to my tastes. Okay, but this got fixed though. This is not the reason why Lattice is bad, by the way, but we can watch the montage. What?
Oh, ban Lilat.
His stage is atrocious.
Okay, so it didn't all get fixed. So some characters still go through the stage. Like Shulk's backslash has a chance of just going through the stage. I don't know why. I can never use that move here. Reasons why Lattice is bad. One, the camera is horrendous and you will never be able to see down here, which makes it very hard to actually space your recovery well. So that's reason one. But the main reason is the following. There are so many slants on Lilat. There's a slant right here. There's a little bit of a slant right here. And then there's a slant right here. And then on the opposite side, another slant, even more slants. What this means is that when you do a short hop right here and you steer just a little bit to the side, you're going to be in the air for just a few frames longer. While that does not seem significant, at high level, these changes are extremely significant. And landing like a few frames to the right, maybe a few frames to the left, they're all going to change your air time just slightly, time and time again. And it's very important that you understand that these small differences in timing can change entire situations. I've lost neutral countless amounts of times because I landed a few frames earlier than I was expecting to, than I normally would on like straight ground. And there's nothing I can do about that because I cannot tell you when you start jumping here and you land here or you land here, what is the difference in frames of airtime? What is the difference in frames of airtime? You don't know. And what is, like, we can even take this as a point. Like, what is the difference in airtime? You don't know. So how do you adjust your timing? How do you make sure your areas are spaced perfectly? How do you make sure your areas are timed perfectly? Right? And I think that is so offensive. Because those little timing differences, that's the difference between getting a parry and not getting a parry. That's the difference between getting your sweet spot and getting your weak hits because you timed it improperly. And I think that is so significant. And I don't think you can learn that. I think it's impossible to learn that. There's so many different positions you can land on, and every position has a different, a different way to go about it. And you cannot learn it. It's impossible to learn. Do you think the same about Yoshi's? Yes, I think the same about Yoshi's story. I think the same. I think the slants make for inconsistent situations. And you're right, Zen. Like, the little slant here, the little bubble here, it's horrible. You know what happens when Shulk, like, is in speed and he full hops on the bubble? He lands on the platform if he full hops in speed. If he's in jump and he short hops, he lands on the platform too. Shulk never lands on the platform. This is the only situation of all the legal stages in which he can land on the platform. Because these few pixels of extra height. And then that is the other thing, is not only is a slant right here, there's a slant right here. So jumping from here to on the platform it's going to be different between trying to jump to the end of the platform and trying to jump to the beginning of the platform. And it's so significant. It's so very significant. Because it's not learnable. And that is why I think light is offensive. Is there are so many situations that these slants create that you cannot, like, you can see them coming, but you never know which one exactly is coming. You never know which one exactly is coming. You can only estimate. And because of that, it's hard to play precisely. And when you cannot play precisely, characters that are like punish game reliant, or even in a worst case scenario, a player that is less skilled than you is more likely to come out on top because these imprecisions are so key. So yeah. The reason why in Brawl this was not a thing is because hitboxes in Brawl were very forgiving. So precision was less of a required thing in these type of situations. Like Falco Becker was just a huge blob that lasted forever. So it's not like you needed to exactly time what was going on. Additionally, there was less input delay, so it was easier to accurately translate your thoughts into the game. And generally, the game pace was also slower. In Ultimate, there's just more precision required. I miss Falco Becker too. I miss doing like an up air and then the air dodge, and then you trap them with your down air, and then you tech chase them with forward smash, stuff like that. But yeah, I think Lighted is very offensive due to the slants and due to the large amount of situations it creates that are not learnable. I think the stage is not learnable. I think that is what is offensive about Lighted.
This is legal while so many other stages are banned for similar reasons is mind-boggling. Alright, I complained long enough, it's time for me to propose a solution. But before we start, I want to say that this works. I know I complained about the current stage list for this entire video, but it's not like it's broken or anything. It functions well, it's just not very exciting. I really hope that there's an update that allows us to switch between hazards on and off from the stage select screen. If I had to choose one thing to change about this game besides from the online, it would be that. But if that never happens, here's my stage list, one that I feel would bring enough variety to the meta while still being based on skill. I already pissed off at least half the population of this video, and might as well go all in. Starter stages, Battlefield, Final Destination.
Starter stages are a stupid concept, by the way. Like, the idea of starter stages is bad. I much prefer full list striking, because the idea of starter stages is that you take the stages that have the least amount of counterpick properties, and then you let the player strike, and you get a stage that is the most neutral in the matchup. Why is this abomination a starter stage? Because this is the definition of a counterpick stage. Because like this is an extreme. This is an extreme. I think this is a counterpick stage. Also, do you think Smashville hazards should be legal? I do not think Smashville with hazards should be legal. I think the moving platform only adds jank and like camping opportunities, and not a lot of, not a lot of healthy interaction. Personally, I get what you mean, Zen. I get what you mean. So yeah, I think starter stages are a bad concept. If you want to find out what the most neutral stage is for any matchup, strike from the full list. It's not hard.
Pokemon Stadium 2, Smashville, and Town and City. No changes here from the usual. I feel like these stages work perfectly as the 5 starter stages. This can say as it is. Counter picks, Kalos, Unova, Yoshi's Story, WarioWare Inc., Skylab, or Woohoo Island, one or the other in maybe Island? Kalos and Yoshi's Story say I have nothing against these stages, and Unova is legal again because it never should have been banned in the first place.
Yeah.
WarioWare I feel is good enough to be a counter pick as there are too many big stages and not enough.
Yeah, this video is a little bit older, but it's still like from May. So it's this year.
Stages, but I feel this is kind of a chaotic neutral pick. Skyloft or Woohoo Island. As I said before, I feel one of these stages should be legal, but not both. Both of these stages have unique layouts, and sharking is...
If Skyloft did not have the blast zone issue on the left, then it would be a great stage.
Not that overpowered. I can't really decide which one it should be because I like both equally, but it definitely can't be both. And maybe Lilat. I don't really hate this stage as much as I want to. I just find it crazy how this stage gets to be legal currently while so many others don't. I'm not really sure whether to put it legal in this rule.
So I think the slants on the Skylift platform are very controllable and not as relevant in the neutral, whereas on the main stage it's a lot bigger. Like, I'm also fine with the slants on Yoshi's triplats because they're so controllable. They're easy to play around and they create for situations that are learnable. But when, like, literally, like, more than half your stage is slant, it's not. It's not a learnable. On platforms, it's very different than on the ground. And both is especially bad. The fact that so many stages are unviable because of one small weird quirk shows how janky our game is. I definitely agree.
I'll just put it as a maybe. There we go, 9 or 10 stages with 4 stage strikes, but also doubles rule sets. All these stages minus Warrior plus Mushroom Kingdom U and Momentum.
Why would you not ban Smashville in doubles? Because Smashville in doubles is like the worst stage. If you're gonna make a doubles tier list, at least ban Smashville, please.
As counter picks, please, I am begging you. Now there are stages that I have no idea what to do with, really.
I played on this stage in tournament, it's horrible. It's just a bigger Final Destination. I dislike it a lot. It has huge blast zones. Not a big fan. Do you play RA? I have played ROA, I like the stages. But I haven't played enough to have a very well-defined opinion on it.
Castle and Yoshi's Island, I guess I would be fine with these being legal. Yoshi's Island I feel has a bigger case for being legal, but I don't have a strong enough opinion either way to really decide. I guess just put these as honorable mentions. Alright, that's my rant. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now I'm gonna get back to playing my...
I don't like having 4 people in exactly the same space on Smashville.
Favorite turn-based RPG, Elite Smash.
Alright. That was a dumpster fire. Dislike. My man forgot Poke Floats. Alright. Guys, that's going to be all for today. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. We're almost at 1K followers. Let's get a little bit hyped for that.